In the immortal words of the Wu-Tang Clan, protect your neck. Little did we know they were talking about Quetzalcoatl. We saw Q, the Winged Serpent, so you know what that means.
Just in the Kelly, or maybe see a burlesque show with Nick Crow and take a boat with speed to hitting cruise control. J-Man, Big Paul, and the beautiful June, gonna take you from the groove all the way to the room. Renegades and Street Fighter help to blow off steam, just a sucker punch the odd life of Timothy Green. Sharpnail, birdemic, how we staying alive? They call him the badass, and he's on the line. Cranking 88 minutes, cause they cool as ice. Cause the bad Jim Barney looking kinda nice. All the June getting literal, Jason is getting sure all the monkey shots getting paid. There's just a bunch of movies while they're making the grade. Here's a real question for you. How did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth, and hello, people of Los Angeles. We are live at Largo, our LA home, talking about Q, the Winged Serpent. The year 1982. And what is this movie about? A lot. It's about two detectives who work homicide and robbery, who are trying to find out who this killer is, who's doing some pretty evil shit. But meanwhile, it's also about a petty thief, a driver, if you will, who gets caught up in a robbery gone wrong. Oh, yeah, and the big thing is there's a giant fucking flying lizard in New York that are eating people's heads right off. That's about all the things that you need to know. And I'll tell you this much, this movie is worth it in every single way. David Carradine, Richard Roundtree. Oh, the list goes on and on. A+ acting. Academy Award-winning performances here. As the title of the movie says, you won't even have time to scream. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break down this entire movie for you. But first, let me introduce my co-host. Please welcome Jason Mantzoukas.
What's up, jerks? That's right. That's right. Here we go, Largo! Oh, boy. Wow. I wish they could all be this good. I wish I could spend every afternoon before a show just basking in the glory of a movie like Q, the Winged.
Oh, yes.
I would say Q, the Winged.
Got it.
I would, but I don't know.
Well, you know, look, they don't say it in the film.
They don't. They don't. And it was like, we'll get into it.
I wouldn't even know if I would call him a serpent.
Yes. Oh, no, this is a dinosaur. This movie, let me be clear, this movie has a dinosaur in it, but it is much more focused on interrogating the absolutely unhinged performance by Michael Moriarty, who is stone cold out of his mind from top to bottom, T2B nuts. Not only that, sounds just like Bill Burr the whole time.
That's it. So right before we came here, I was like, I know that voice. What is that voice? And I couldn't put it.
It's Bill Burr the whole time.
You're right.
And I know
You're right.
I know it because I walked away and I wasn't watching it, but I was listening to it for a minute. I was like, oh shit, that's Bill Burr. So much so that I looked up, is it possible they're from the same place? No.
Wow. Well, we'll play you a clip of Michael Moriarty, who does give an A+ performance in this film. But before we do, let's bring out my other co-host. Please welcome June Diane Raphael. How are you, June?
I'm okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here.
Another tagline of Q is here. So you're here, Q is here.
By the way, when you first played the trailer, I thought, oh no, I didn't watch a movie called Q. I watched the wrong movie. I didn't. I watched this movie. I watched this movie, but I never heard him referred to as Q.
No, of course not. They don't.
They don't ever call him
attempt,
Q.
Yeah, I feel like this probably was made under the title of the name of the Winged Serpent. Yes, the Winged Serpent.
Or I think it was probably Quetzalcoatl, and then they were like, you can't release a movie called Quetzalcoatl.
How about Q, the Winged Serpent?
One of the wildest parts, we're going to get into it, but one of the wildest parts of this movie is the fact that we don't meet the man responsible for it all until the last 4 minutes?
Yep.
Maybe 3.
And he is so brutally dispatched. I have never seen a more brutal killing.
I just couldn't understand why, arguably, he has the most interesting story.
We should be obsessed with him. We should be obsessed with him.
We need a monologue. We need
everything
something.
he's up to. And instead, where the movie is following a 2-bit crook.
Yes.
Who has no information on Q, the Winged Serpent, except for pure happenstance.
Yep.
I mean, this movie is all over the place, but Jason, I wanted to respect you and ask, how was it to watch a movie all about eggs?
Ugh. Boy, oh boy, I'll be honest. I didn't like it at all.
I was like, Jason might be allergic to this movie.
I did get hives. I did break out into hives during that section where he goes, ooh, that's a big omelet. I absolutely am certain 90% of this movie was improvised. When David Carradine said, I'm going to take my birth control, I was like, what? What is that line? What's that mean?
I wrote
What's
that down.
mean?
I wrote that down too, and I was like, all this is a slight insight on how David Carradine flirts and fucks, and I didn't like it.
Like, what does that mean?
What does it mean?
What?
I'm hung up on it.
What does it mean?
I'm gonna take my birth control pill. I'm sorry, I wrote it down.
At one point, I was like, did he take Viagra? And is that's sort of the funny joke he's making?
Does he think this is how the pill works? The guy takes it?
I don't know.
I think he was just being, like, I think sometimes when you get to be very famous, people laugh at everything that you do, and then you don't realize, like, what's funny or what's not. And he's like, I said this to plenty of women, and they thought it was hilarious.
Here, I do think, because we would have people come on the league who were like, bigger actors who weren't comfortable with improvisation, and then they would get excited to do improv with us, and then they would say insane shit.
Yeah.
That had the cadence of a joke. Something like, I'm going to go take my birth control pill, flippantly said as you leave the table.
And it's like, and then, but no one,
Here's the thing, though. He's not on camera for that line.
It's a lie. So it's an ADR.
So that's what I know the filmmakers thought about it. I know that they slept on it. They watched many cuts and thought, that's what this moment needs.
Well, what they were...
A little levity.
I feel like what they were like was, you know what? Because of the edit now, there's a bit of like a
dead air. We need to cover this moment.
We need a button for this scene now. And David Carradine was like, I got just the thing, man. Roll the tape. Roll the tape. I'll drop it right in. I'm going to go take my birth control pill. All right, I'll see you guys later. Wait, what?
But doesn't he also come back in and then just like nuzzle her?
He does.
Oh, yeah.
And so it wasn't even the button. It's just sort of like a mid-scene
They ADR'd it because nothing's happening.
Nope.
He just leaves frame and then comes back. And so they snuck that line in, but why?
There's so many instances where I feel like he's doing shit like that, where he's not giving them opportunities to not use it. Like when he's drawing the picture of the bird in the board meeting.
I forgot about that.
By the way,
they didn't get any coverage where he's not drawing the bird. He made them use it.
And you know what? I have worked with actors who do that, and I always tip my hat. I always tip my hat.
Unreal move. I was
It
like, this
truly
is a
is.
fucking insane
To
move.
handicap a film that way.
But
it is like
here-
a terrorist
Oh,
negotiating.
there's no lines for this scene? Okay, I'll just do this.
But here is the joke of it. His drawing looks better than the actual winged serpent.
Yeah, what
Like-
our eyes have seen.
Yes, we have seen this claymation fucking dinosaur. I mean, this movie has ripped off Godzilla 19, whatever it was with Matthew Broderick. I mean, it's the same plot, but this is just a dinosaur movie, and he drew, I would say, a pretty fair representation of Q.
You know what's interesting about the Q, the winged serpent?
Boy, would I love it if because of this episode, Q the Winged Serpent became the most searched for Q in existence.
Well, I felt very bad. Our producer, Molly, said that now her internet is fucked because
I
all she was
bet.
doing
I
was
bet.
typing in Q.
Well, here's the
The sequel
interesting
is
thing,
called
though.
Q Drains the Swamp.
The interesting thing about Q is that
The Q, the winged serpent from the swamp.
Q only, I think, attacks when people are on high rises or hanging off of them. Like, I don't know why Q the winged serpent can't swoop down to
Not
ground
interested.
level.
Because
pick
he's
someone
trying to
up.
be invisible.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Q's
no,
whole...
I didn't. No, first of all, I don't believe that. I know the characters give us that justification that Q is trying to stay within the sun's rays perfectly, so that people can't see him. But other people can.
Oh, there's Q. Anybody. Yeah, give it up. Anybody above floor 30 can see Q the Winged Serpent, like right there.
Easily.
I
Well,
mean, like
but
you
what-
can see anything in the
That's-
city alleyway.
That's the indictment of this movie. Yes, we work in the high rises, but we don't pay attention. Look right outside our window.
Wow,
no, we
wow,
got
wow.
we're
Wow,
on the
Paul.
phone.
Wow.
As
Eat the rich.
Wow.
Huh?
I mean, this is it.
Thank God
Because-
Al Qaeda didn't get hold of Q the Winged Serpents.
There, I mean, the opening scene of this movie is one of my favorite scenes of all time. It's a window washer
Oh.
who is
It's great.
sexually harassing a woman who I guess works in shoe manufacturing. I don't know, but
I wish the whole movie was about her and her
Yes.
job in fashion.
and the way that he's like, hey,
not gonna-
hey, gorgeous. And she's like, oh, he's cleaning the window again? As if he, like, by the way, he's
And
not
he's
cleaning
going,
that
you
window.
love me. And she's like, oh, this fucking creep. And it's like the opening of Grease. You know,
Yes.
just bouncing back and forth.
But why are those windows like completely soundproof?
Yes.
They're soundproof.
I think they are experiencing.
because you would be able to hear something. It would be
Oh, he's
muted, but
Oh yeah, she complains about the squeaking.
she
That's
can
right.
hear the squeaking, but it seems like they can't hear each other speak.
Well, because she's ignoring him like a normal, sane human being. She's like, oh, this guy, he's still washing the windows. She's like, hi. And it seems like he's just lowering to her floor. And the amount of soap he's put on there, he's never making any headway. It's just more and more soap. He's never doing the other side of the squeegee. It's just the soapy side.
Well, today's his job review, and Q the Winged Serpent says, you're fired because his head gets chomped.
Now, fun fact.
Yeah.
Real Empire State Building squeegee man.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
They
he
got
was-
a real guy to...
They got a real guy to act out that part, and they killed him. Now,
I would love it if you were like, they hired an actor, but he just couldn't do it correctly. They needed the authenticity of that guy.
Well, they definitely had. I mean, look, there's something about this movie that I found fascinating, which was they had access to a lot of places I've never seen in New York. Mainly, a lot of these up top of building like
This
pools and outdoor spaces. I lived in New York for a long time. No one ever
Never.
invited
I wrote
me.
in
Never
here,
seen a pool.
This movie has access to and shows us how to get to more rooftops in Midtown Manhattan
Yeah.
than I was ever on in 13 years
Yep.
of living there.
It was not an option. Like the rooftops I was on was
couldn't-
like
there was no door that opened up into a rooftop.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I ever climbed a ladder on floor 86
Nope.
in New York City in my life.
Now, here's the thing that pissed me off about this movie. The first killing is this squeegee man who gets his head. And by the way, if you're a bird, take the whole body. The head is not going to be fulfilling enough. That's like
Here's the thing.
Abe
It's like a
Eminem.
Here's the thing. If he's doing this, right? Listen, Q is a winged serpent, and I'm certain, and is seemingly immortal. I'm not sure, but
I'm gonna find out what
to
a
have
serpent is.
to have the ability to swoop in, like having that much momentum,
Wingspan, too.
Yes, that much momentum, that much weight to come
Yeah.
in, bite just his head off, make no impression on the building.
No.
She doesn't see. There's no shadow cast
No.
on her. She sees nothing. It's just bloop.
Yeah.
It is so delicate.
surgical.
It is so delicate. Q the Winged Serpent isn't interested in eating your whole body.
No. Although
a-
there are times where he'll just pick a motherfucker up.
Yeah.
and fly away.
Well, I was so excited when he finally grabbed somebody in his claw. I'm like, you got the claws, use them.
Oh, it's the guy in the pool. It's the guy in the pool, I
Yes.
think, is the first claw grab.
Well, I will say this. So these detectives are investigating a murder at the Empire State Building. Now, what's the other main building? The one that looks identical to the Empire State. I was like, this is not the Empire State.
It's the Chrysler Building.
But it's like, you can't have an inciting incident at the building that looks just like the other building.
Oh, you can't have two things like 10 blocks away from each other like this. This is too much.
I just thought like visually I was so confused. Like, oh wait, is he in the? Because he goes, I gotta go see my lawyer. Then he ran in. I think they showed the exterior of the Empire State Building, but then he's in the.
I think the whole movie also is stolen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Stolen
they don't have
shots.
permits to be on anything.
Yeah.
I think most of the shots where blood is dripping on people, real shots.
Okay, can I
This
give
is
you?
real.
Well, I mean, the first scene when Richard Roundtree and David Carradine are out talking about what they just saw, the man with the head being bitten off. They've roped off the bystanders who are just watching two actors act in a movie.
Yeah.
Because the ambulance is pulled away and they're just like, I wonder what they're saying. What are they talking about? They're staring at them and smiling like, look at this. It's a movie. It's a
but the
movie.
other-
It is.
Hey,
Like, and they're
hey,
all.
kung fu. Hey, kung fu. Hey.
But the other issue I had with that ambulance, like hurrying away, like
Yeah.
that man has no head. Okay, that man has no head, and they don't know where the head is, and they
They're
first of all
looking around.
they wheel
looking
him
around.
out and put him in there, and the sirens go on. It's like, what are you?
What are
are
you,
we
they're
planning on
outside the
doing?
building like this. He's like, what are you doing? Looking for the head.
And then David Carradine says at one point, "Well, I mean, it's going to show up somewhere,
Here's
as
what
though
I'm
they
gonna say.
always do."
I wanna underline it, June. Even if they did have the head, that ambulance has no reason to run away.
Why
No
put
one's
the
getting their head
sirens
reattached. Once that's off,
I would have loved
You're
it
done.
if there was a tag at the very end of that scene where the ambulance is pulling away and the woman is like, I did always love him. Like you just get a little insight to like, it would have been love.
One thing I really didn't ever get to the bottom of, our gentleman at the very end, again, we saw the last 3 minutes of the movie, the man who caused all of this.
Yes.
He has convinced a number of people a number of men to sacrifice their bodies. But by the way, they're awake for their own skinning.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
The way that they skin.
Oh, it's so
Can I show a
upsetting.
clip of it?
No.
I would love
We've
it if
been
you
through
did.
too much. We've been through too much.
I would love it if you did.
When we first meet the first skinned person,
Let's
they're
not
in a
use meat.
Okay, yes. When we are first introduced to the first skinned person, they're on white bedding. There's no blood anywhere in the room, and every piece of skin
Okay,
is
all right. It's enough. But
And-
it's enough, Paul. But
Okay.
but I was fascinated by the people who wanted to do? Who are those people?
This guy.
And why?
Oh, yeah.
This man who gets on the table and says, "It's cold. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You'll get heated up in a second when I start peeling your flesh off your body."
Now, normally a movie like this would have like two like opposing forces, right? The people who are trying to bring about cue the Winged Serpent, their god, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna whatever. And the person who realizes this plan and is like, I must stop them from doing this. I must stop the Nazis from opening the Ark of the Covenant or whatever, right?
Which came out the same year as this movie.
Insane. But in this movie, we are following none of the people that are involved with the interesting thing that's happening. So those people are off maybe making a better movie somewhere.
Well, it's true, because what I kept on wondering about the gentleman who was making all this happen is like, what an interesting position he's in, where he doesn't have to get skinned.
Yeah.
He just gets to see his God alive and well, and other people have to sacrifice
What about the guy that
themselves.
makes those hats? Makes the cue the Winged Serpent hat.
I mean, yeah, he's
Absolutely.
wearing a big
The big
headdress.
headpiece.
I also
I want to know
like,
about that.
This-
Also, wait a minute, sorry.
Yeah.
I also want to know why the altar for the sacrifices is in the storage room of like somebody's lawyer's office. Like the altar, the stone altar is in a room covered in shelves and document boxes.
And I also wanted to know, where was his lawyer?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he working?
Well, his lawyer did eventually come in because his
At
lawyer.
the
I think,
very
is-
end, with no explanation of where he was.
Well, sometimes he takes a lunch break. He's a successful lawyer. The idea that these cops are not good cops. And I want to make sure that I'm on record that, because when they do find that first filleted person, they're like, ugh, gross, ugh. And then one of the cops just picks up a pillow and is like, ugh, throws it on the body, a.k.a. the evidence.
Yes. You're right, Paul. I noticed that too. And it's not, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's not like, oh, I'm going to cover their face for
not
their own
respect.
dignity. It is not respect.
It's the way that
out
you
of
throw
disgust.
a pillow at someone, like, oh, you scared me, you son of a bitch. Yeah, like, it's like that.
And
It's like,
if you're playing How Did This Get Made Bingo, that was a pillow. That was a
yes.
full-throated pillow.
How do you pronounce it? Pillow?
Yeah.
We're both from Long
I
Island.
like
We
that.
both say
love
that
it.
word. It's hard.
The police are, I agree, very bad in this. So much so that when they find the guys actively performing the sacrifice, where the man is cut open, right? And then the cops come in. The naked guy jumps off the table, comes at him. The cop shoots him immediately, and then looks around and is like, he was coming for me. He was coming for me.
I have.
I love that moment. I
was
love
like,
that moment.
This movie,
I
I
loved
wouldn't have
it.
been surprised if this movie followed an internal affairs investigation. That's how tertiary
Yes.
to important events the characters in this movie are.
Well, because also, why is that police department so threatened by this report
And why
on
do they
this like
all have
human
wigs?
sacrifice? Wigs?
They seem to all have crazy wigs, I feel like.
Do you
I
think
didn't
the
notice the
actors have
wigs.
wigs, or the characters just are wearing wigs?
Oh, now that's interesting.
I didn't notice the wigs as much as I noticed that all of them, if you told me they were part-time strippers and part-time cops, because they all had like slightly unbuttoned blue shirts. Hair was wild. And at one point, the guy before he's going to kill this winged serpent is just chugging a beer. Like, I'm like, these are...
Oh, this police department, the NYPD, when their major sting at the end to get cue the winged serpent, there are police officers just sitting outside in baskets,
Yeah.
hanging from the building, in baskets
with machine guns.
Yes.
Brah, 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 brah.
Nobody is like, you know what? This did not work for King Kong. Why are we doing this? Paul, can I ask you just a super quick question?
Yes.
Do you have any evidence available that Michael Moriarty plays the piano?
Yes. I have.
That's
I can blow your mind with 3 quick facts. Michael Moriarty was not written to play the piano, but when the director found out that he did, he's like, let's make it a whole subplot. So that is
Wow.
to the improvised part of it. I also want to speak to this part of it too, which is, yes, there were actors on the top of the Chrysler building firing machine guns that were unloading blanks that were falling on New York City citizens. Thankfully, there is a net that protects like debris from falling, so it didn't hit anyone. And the director's response to that was, we were upset because we wanted to see people reacting to getting hot shell casings dropping on their heads.
Incredible stuff.
And because of this movie, you are not allowed to fire live rounds
Really? Because
on
of
the
this
top
movie?
of
Wow.
buildings like that anymore.
Well, that's good. If the movie did anything. It's
there-
so funny because the scene, that bar scene, I'll never stop thinking about that bar scene.
Can I play
for
it?
the rest
Holy
of my
shit.
days?
This
It was haunting.
Is incredible. This is, and I really mean this when I say this movie is in our pantheon of movies, fantastic for just
Yeah.
such scenes as this.
Go away, evil dream. Leave my baby alone.
I couldn't understand that.
Go
I couldn't
away,
understand
evil
that.
dream. Go away now.
Okay.
She wakes up crying every night.
Hey, did you ever find that guy?
I will just say, as I pause it for a second, some people seem into it, some people seem out of it. I don't know what the movie
I
is
couldn't
trying
tell.
to
I
tell
couldn't
me.
tell if people loved it. I couldn't tell if people hated it. I couldn't tell if we were supposed to like it. I couldn't tell if we were supposed to hate it.
I couldn't understand what he was trying to do, full stop. He walks into the bar where his girlfriend works.
Yeah.
He says to
Which,
the owner,
but we don't know at that
But
point.
he's
Well, we
making
know-
eye
we know they had that
contact
eye
with her.
contact.
He's making a meaningful
Oh,
eye contact with her. But regardless,
I thought he was flirting.
No, the bartender's like, how did you know we had an opening for a piano player? And he's like, and she's like,
well, but to me it seemed like the guy, the owner, did not want a musician.
That's
like,
what
was
I
Mi-
was confounded
And
by.
so Michael Moriarty, to me, it felt like he was staking out a place to rob, or this was part of the job.
I had
because
that question
also
as well.
David Carradine shows up in this scene, truly inexplicable.
David Carradine
Why are
likes
they
a
together?
beverage. David Carradine likes a beverage. Multiple times we see him when he's off duty. He's just getting a drink, coffee, beer, whatever it may be.
This
He stays
is
hydrated.
top to bottom, like absolute nuts.
And the
Nuts.
crazy part about this scene is I think that this scene is supposed to endear us to Michael
I think
Moriarty's
so.
character. I think
We are
we are supposed to root for him. At one point,
He thinks we're supposed to.
Okay, he is a racist. He's also admitted to like kicking the shit out of his girlfriend. At
No,
one point.
he hasn't.
He is-
She
says
has.
it.
She's like, well,
says
at
it.
least you didn't
Yes.
punch me
She
this
says
time.
it.
I go,
Yes.
He's
Jesus.
an alcoholic. I'm like, this man is so, and he's not well.
Oh no,
He's
there were periods where I
strange.
was like, is his performance meant to be like really nuts? Like, what is
He's
he?
a nervous eater who, I'm afraid of everything, but I'm not afraid of heights.
when he comes back from the attic full of skeletons to his girlfriend, and he's like, I want to cry. I haven't cried since I was a little kid, but I just want to cry with what I saw. He's doing so much.
doing the most.
And this is like what this scene is to me. What's so odd about it is it starts off, I'm like,
Oh
okay.
no, I'm so sorry. But I just want to cry, but I'm supposed to be a man.
When he sits down at this piano, I'll just give you my point of view of the emotions that I went through.
Please.
I was like, okay, we're going to now see that this criminal has actually got a real
a
talent.
wonderful pianist.
That's going to be great. Then he starts playing, and I'm like, okay. Maybe this is like kind of that moment in Back to the Future where Marty McFly and his band is playing, and then Huey Lewis is like, I'm afraid you're just too darn loud. I'm like, okay, maybe he's like, they're not ready for that.
Yeah.
And then he's playing in such an aggressive way. I'm like, is he in here because he wants to start a fight with the bartender? Because the bartender's been hitting on his girlfriend and he wants to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like.
The way he's playing, first of all, clearly, because in many instances you can see his fingers, so he is clearly playing. He can play the piano.
Sort of.
That being said,
I mean,
it's not barely playing.
No, but what he's doing is not anything that would get him a job.
Oh, yeah.
Let me be clear.
That
That's right.
anyone would listen to.
So that makes me feel like he mustn't want this. This
Right.
must not be real. He's here for some other reason.
But
do
yet
you
they-
think that he was going in there to impress his girlfriend?
I think the movie logic is he wants to be a piano guy instead of being a crook. And now he's got, this is his chance. He doesn't get it. So now he has to take
Wow.
So because he doesn't get this job, he has
Wow.
to take the job robbing the diamond store.
Wow.
That's what the movie
did
wants.
not
I don't
read
think it's
any of
successful, but I think that's the plot.
As I'm hearing it, it makes
I do think that's what it
sense.
is.
Because there were so many looks and so many weird,
Agreed.
I couldn't
But just play a
parse it
normal
out.
fucking song if you want.
Yes,
He's scatting
play
over here.
a song.
And I'm going to say this. I'm okay with all of this until I hear how he learned to play this song at the end, which is the weirdest
I don't
racist
think I
rant
heard
I've
it.
ever
Oh,
heard.
yeah.
Where I'm like, this is making me uncomfortable. Like, I'm like, you shouldn't be sharing this. And then, what I've come to realize is that man who taught him hated him. And knew he was a racist. Like, yeah, I'll show you how to play piano. This is what we call jazz. And then he's like, thanks, buddy. And then he's gone on his entire life like, don't worry, this famous guy taught me this. And it was a giant fuck you. So that's
interesting.
my
Wow.
movie logic, is that he has been an
He's-
asshole his entire life, and this guy has
What
sabotaged
an
him.
unpleasant man.
At this point, I have to think his girlfriend is a fool.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she should be like, I gotta dump this guy.
She should have dumped him a long time
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
I mean,
He is a garbage person.
Yeah.
but makes this movie one of the best films I've ever seen. Now, when he's up in this robbery, I rewound this scene a handful of times because it's a robbery in which we don't see the interior of the place that they're robbing. They walk in, and then very mutedly we hear, "Hey, put it down."
Who are those guys?
And then he's running out, and I'm like, what happened? I don't know, and I'm like, did I miss it? He does have a gun. It looks like someone has been shot. He's got a bag full of diamonds. He gets hit by a cab. The diamonds go flying. He has no, response to go get them. And then he just
He
starts...
takes off running. Nobody's chasing him
No
for
one.
a long time. Not at all. He's gotten away with it.
He's running to a phone booth to call his lawyer to say, I'm going to be in there in a second.
But also,
For what?
don't tell anyone. Just walk off
Just-
into the night. Nobody
Yes.
saw you. Nothing's happening. Nobody's after you.
Oh, yeah, you don't. Here's what you don't need
Go
to
get
do.
the diamonds.
You don't need
Get
to
the diamonds.
get the diamonds and or you go home. You don't need to climb into the roof of the Chrysler building.
Okay, that journey. I want to get to
What?
that in a second. I want to get to
And the
how he
Foley
ends
work,
up there.
the Foley work in this is nuts. When he's climbing the ladder, it
Yeah.
sounds like he's farting every step of the way.
The thing that's so crazy about this robbery is there's so much made of the fact that he's just a driver. He doesn't go in and do the dirty work, and he's not risking of himself to do the dirty work, which is so fascinating knowing what happens to him later on. Like, I think the movie wants us to believe that this is a guy initially who is not willing to take major risks in his life. But then at the end, he's willing to let people die so that he can make $2 million off
So
the
he
city.
can, the amount of focus that's given to his negotiating what
And
he wants.
by the way,
Which
By
is,
the way-
I believe,
When he-
all improvised. I want a fleet of helicopters. What?
okay, when he starts talking about how he's going to own the copyright to all photographs, I was like, I want him in the room at the next WGA
Holy shit.
strike. This guy knows what's up.
Send him
Send him
to the
in.
DNC immediately.
Yes,
Well,
get him
I
at the
need this
table.
motherfucker choosing what's up.
Because he was, by the way, he was right. I want $1 million. I want to have for whatever crimes I do commit in the future, you can't get me on that either.
Next
Clear my
level.
record in the past and the future, Minority Report style, which would mean that he could go off on a killing spree, he could be a robber. Like he's not saying I won't commit any more crimes. He's like, now you've given me carte blanche.
But Paul, what? Okay, so this is what I don't understand about the other criminals that he's with. If he doesn't want to go in there, I don't know why they give him a gun, but I believe someone died in there.
I think 2 people got shot.
Who are those guys?
Here's my question though. In that moment, does Michael Moriarty decide, I see shit's going down, I'm going to grab the
Yes.
diamonds? How do you know that?
I think he's a piece of shit.
Okay.
But
I think
even if he
he's
grabbed
not-
that-
I think he left. I think he saw an opportunity, grabbed the
took
diamonds,
it.
and left.
Wow.
But then he doesn't even seem like he wants those diamonds.
No.
And then there's also no one who finds it. Like a little kid should have been like, hey, look, diamonds.
I thought
Like,
the serpent was going to get. I thought
Wait,
Q
did
was
you
going to get
audition
them.
for that?
Hey, look, diamonds.
Let's ADR that. Can somebody ADR that into the
Hey,
movie?
look, diamonds, or as I like to call them, my birth control.
I'd love it if David Carradine says, I'm going to go take my birth control pill and just popped a diamond into his mouth.
By the way, also in that scene with David Carradine again with the birth control, I forgot the best part. In a kimono.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
forgot about
incredible
that,
stuff.
too.
Reading about the Winged Serpent.
But let's just go back to how we end up in the nest.
Oh, yeah,
in the
please.
top
Oh, yeah.
of the Chrysler building. So he goes in that building to meet with his lawyer to confess to a crime that nobody has seen him do.
Nobody knows.
Seems like everyone's dead.
And then the security guard
Yes.
for the building, having no concept that Michael Moriarty is related to a crime that has just happened, just is like, hey. And he's like, uh-oh. And Moriarty starts
Takes off.
ascending to the rafters.
And no one's chasing him.
He's
Again,
acting so
no
suspicious.
one's chasing him.
He's always acting suspicious. He's never not suspicious.
At a certain point, though, didn't you get the feeling that he's not even worried about the security guard watching him or coming after him? He's just continuing to walk up,
Yeah.
up.
I feel like, do you feel like also that maybe these were just Michael Moriarty choices and the director was like, Mike, I don't think we can follow you up there.
Well,
Come on, get a camera up here. Come on.
All right, so here's again, if we're going to go backwards and reinvent the script, the very easy fix would be he runs out of the jewelry store with the diamonds.
Yeah.
I don't know where to hide these. Knock, knock, knock on my lawyer's door. Hey, can I put these in the safe? He's not there. Shit.
Love it.
I'll hide it up in the
That's
top of the
great.
building.
Great.
I go up there, up a nest, and then maybe he does they'll
Yeah.
never see it here, and he hides it there. Whatever it is, that at least gives me...
That's great, Paul. That's
imagine
great.
if the
Thank you.
diamonds.
It is.
By the way, you know
That's
how
great.
else that helps?
That's
You
a
know what
great
else
fix.
helps there is if then he is to the guys, I know where the diamonds
Yes.
are. And he does bring them to the nest because, in fact,
The diamonds are there. But
It's-
We
yet
don't know where the diamonds are.
The fact that
What?
he goes up there unprompted with nothing to hide for no reason, and when the reason was so easy, he had the bag in his hands.
Why does he have to lose the diamonds? Why?
I don't know. And then also, it's very confusing why those 2 other thugs are willing to go on that ladder, are willing to ascend it in front of him.
Yes.
By the way, the cops do the same thing.
It's
Hey,
really-
man, there's a giant winged serpent up there. Let's all go up on the ladder
Yeah,
because
you
we'll
guys
have
go
more
first.
power. All basically like dominoes.
Also,
like,
remember-
chomp, chomp, chomp. It's like
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Remember when the cops were like, I don't want you to go in there unarmed and try and give him a gun?
They do
and
give
he's
him a
like,
gun.
I don't think so, man. What?
Don't trust
What are we
me.
doing?
Don't trust me. I'm a scumbag.
It's so crazy. Everybody wants to give him a gun.
I genuinely loved, again, I know that a lot of the stuff I'm saying is repetitive just because I do feel like Michael Moriarty is improvising a lot. I can see it, and it's really funny to me what he's choosing to fixate on, one of which is the giant canvas tent on top of the Chrysler building. He says,
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
listening to me. You got to get the big canvas tent. He says it, I'm going to say 30 times in the course of 7 minutes. You can tell it's an idea he's obsessed with. And they had to put it in. Again, they had to put it in.
But he's also, like, he's seen, I think, multiple dead bodies up there and remains.
Can I just say the other thing that he says in this scene? You're talking about his improv. When he comes back, and we'll play a clip of this scene with his girlfriend, he's upset. She's worried. Where have you been? And he says, he fell asleep under a staircase. And my thought was, when?
Yeah.
We
Up
didn't see that.
in the Chrysler, in the nest? Did he fall asleep in the nest area?
I don't know, but that wouldn't...
Here's a question that's never answered, or if it was, I missed it. But at one point he says, Q the Winged Serpent hasn't attacked him, and he's been up there twice.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Why? It's so much so that I was like, I hadn't thought of it until then.
Is he part
brings up-
serpent?
He
Is
brings
he-
up an interesting choice. And I thought to myself, is it possible he is Q the Winged Serpent?
I had the same thought.
Is he turning into Q the Winged Serpent? And I was like, cool move. Nope, never answered.
I want to just talk about the one thing that you'll never see because it was in the original theatrical print.
Is this not that? Is what I watched on Peacock not that?
It is. They said it was not on any of the other airings. It's just the original. At the end of the movie, we see, the other egg. Sorry, Jason. We see the other egg, and it cuts right to credits.
Get me my EpiPen.
It cuts right to credits. But in the original theatrical movie, you see the other egg, it cracks open, and then a title card comes up. It says, Michael Moriarty's character did sue the city and got $1 million tax-free.
This is the kind of thing that I would believe if you told me, actually, the writing and directing names are fake. Michael Moriarty made this whole movie. Including all the miniatures of Q the Winged Serpent.
All right, well, can I was going to say this for the end, but I'll just say it to you now. So the director of this movie, he's known for films like Maniac Cop. He's done a lot of like schlocky movies, started off doing like blaxploitation movies and kind of moved into cop movies. He was fired off of a very big budget film. And he was like, fuck it. I already have this hotel room for a couple more days. Wrote the script in 7 days and kept the cast from the other movie and just pushed them into this. And whoever could do it did it, and that was it. And they called in all of it. Like, well, maybe I should say this. I don't know if it's the same cast. He just basically wrote the movie in 7 days. He's like, I've already been location scouting. Let's go. And then shot the movie.
Well, that makes sense. That actually now helps me understand what the fuck this was.
Yeah.
This was a cocaine nightmare.
There is a point. I just want to point out one crowd scene. I don't know if anyone else saw this, but I can't remember if it's when Q is sort of falling off the building or if it's when, people are bleeding on people. But there's one crowd scene where it's like, oh, New York City streets mayhem. Like people don't know where to go and don't know where to hide. And there's one man who simply is in the middle of the street. It's almost like seeing a carpet rolled up. He just rolls. Just nothing is happening to him. There's no danger nearby. He just rolled across the street, and I was crying, laughing.
Oh.
So it did feel like it did. There are certain moments in this film where it's just like everybody's on drugs, like everybody.
What they're trying to tell us, what the movie's trying to tell me is a normal thing, is for like 4 hot-bodied young people to be on the rooftop pool of a high-rise in Midtown Manhattan, so that one of the women can do 60 push-ups.
Okay. Oh my! I cannot believe we haven't
everybody else
discussed this.
just watches.
Okay.
And the guy's like, so wait, you just called me over here to watch this?
Okay.
And they're just like 56, 57. What the? And they're like, yeah, like normal New Yorkers. Hey.
Just a regular Wednesday.
So I had so many questions about that scene, and again, I'll never stop thinking about it. because I do think, the movie, it's located at a time where women are, the opening scene, that woman is not a secretary. She is some sort of high-powered CEO and in running her own business in that moment. And then, so I clocked that based on when the movie's made. And then that scene on the rooftop, I really am trying to contextualize and frame in terms of just like what's happening with women.
He thought he was coming over to fuck 3 women.
Okay, but
And
she
then it
did
turns
call
out-
him.
Yes.
She did call him.
And said, "Get over here."
Get over here and watch me work out.
And then he was like, she did 60 push-ups, kept going. And he was like, is this why you called me over here? This is so much bullshit. He was like, fine, I'll just get in the pool. Cue the Winged Serpent. Grabs him, takes him, and chucks him off the window.
Now here's
Boom!
the thing. Now here's the thing about this Winged Serpent. Normally in movies like this, you see people behaving badly, and they're the ones who get killed. So the first guy, he's a
he had to
flirt,
go.
but he's not that bad.
But
But
no, he's a creep. He's not
Paul.
a flirt. What are you talking about?
Paul.
He's a flirt? This is a predator.
hey, lady. No, so yes, okay, you're right.
He's hanging outside her window.
Well, that's his job.
And he's like a...
To be
It's
fair,
not
that is his job.
He has nothing
but
to clean
didn't she
there.
say that he'd done it 3 days in a row?
Yes.
Like, the window is clean, my
That's
guy.
what
He is
people say about the
stalking
Empire
her.
State Building, the cleanest windows in New York. So, all right, first person creep. Second person, just a woman sunbathing with things over her eyes. She can't see the Winged Serpent yet, screams as if she looks right in his face. All right, so she's innocent.
She's
Well, no,
topless,
she's
too.
not innocent because
She's-
she has her boobs out.
Yes, she has the sin
She's
of
just
titties.
trying to. All right.
She has the sin of
yes,
titties.
in the world of this movie, she needs to be punished.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well then let's. Well, now my theory's falling apart. But then let's go to.
But you know who doesn't die? The creep on the rooftop adjacent.
That's what I'm talking
who
about.
seems to
He's
be
the
who
creep.
who you think is looking. He's looking at her through a telescope, except it's not. It's like a surveyor's equipment. He's looking at her through a sextant. I think. I'm pretty sure it's a sextant.
It's what
It's so funny. Like so much really
Adam
is.
Driver's character uses in Megalopolis.
So much is happening on the rooftops. It's like where all the singles go.
Oh my God! It's
Well,
a whole
it's
other New
a whole-
York.
But this is what I'm going to say. So, all right. So, okay. Sunbather, she gets killed. Construction worker. He seems like they're abusing him because at first he's like,
Oh,
hey, where'd my
yeah.
sandwich go? Hey, you guys steal my sandwich? And you think, oh, cue the Winged Serpent stole his sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And then
a
it's
big
revealed,
mystery.
no, those guys actually did steal his sandwich.
Oh yeah. And the one guy's like, his wife does make a good sandwich. I might have to pay her a visit soon and tell her so because I'm a fucking rapist. What?
I didn't know what that
those
meant.
guys-
Why would he say that?
Those guys live, but this poor hungry man who's just trying to do a job and married to a beautiful woman who makes a great sandwich.
I
just-
truly did not understand. Again, this is the whole experience of watching this movie. I was like,
The wrong
I don't
people
get
win.
people. Yeah, I don't get
The
people.
wrong people win all the time?
Well, I mean, and then you have.
Why were they taking his sandwich? He seemed like a nice guy.
They seem like they were friends. And then you have the best death in the entire film. This is my favorite one, which is our other cop. We haven't really mentioned him that much, but Richard Roundtree, who's up on the roof looking for someone with his partner, a mime.
Okay.
This was nuts.
So before you play this, Paul, I
Sure.
just want to talk about that mime for a second. I had to stop the movie. I had to stop the movie and really make sure what I was seeing was correct, which is that the NYPD has placed an undercover cop out in the streets in front of the museum to see the comings and goings, and that they have disguised him. His cover is a mime.
A mime in an Amadeus shirt. Not the movie, but the Broadway production. So this mime is also bucking conventional trends by wearing like a patterned shirt. Like he's not wearing a traditional mime shirt.
Well, there's also when they're done and they're like, we got to go to the next location. They all bundle into the car and he says to them, "How did I do?"
Okay, I heard that. Again,
Oh, no. Someone says to him, how did you do money-wise? And he says, oh, not that good. Or
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's up for grabs whether he was a good mime or not.
Well, and it made me wonder, like, again, another movie in this movie that I'd like to watch, which is like, do all the undercover cops have to list their talents or interests?
Special skills.
Can you
Special
guys
skills.
I'm going to ask you a question because I think I know the answer, but I want to see if I'm right. What was he doing?
As a mime?
Yeah. What was he watching for?
I thought he was watching for
the two people who were going to perform the ceremony.
sacrifice.
How would you ever find those two people? That's like saying, I saw two people in New York City. That must be them. Like, they have no clue about this man.
For most of the movie, no one has seen Q the Winged Serpent. For most of the movie, only an hour and 10 minutes in does the police chief say 70 people have seen the Winged Serpent. Only just now have we gotten reports in that people have seen the Winged Serpent.
But no one has ever seen this man. So you're just saying, hey, you hang out in front of the museum and wait to see two men talking. Chances are, it's them. It's so wild. So this is my favorite scene. So Richard Roundtree, looking around.
Oh, the mime.
Mime with a gun. Who is still moving like a mime, or maybe it's impossible to stop moving like a mime when you are dressed like a mime. I don't know. But
by the way, look at the smog of New York City.
And all the doors to the rooftops are locked from the inside. That means we've got them trapped up here.
All ADR.
Check the other end.
June? June, pause.
June just got...
June, are you okay?
June just got jump scared by the movie she's already seen.
June!
And this is why I can walk in and out of a room in our house and June will have the same jump scare.
I'm really on edge these days. I'm really on edge.
I'm going to say this has nothing to do with anything. This is...
I forgot it was a kite, wasn't it? It was a kite.
Holy shit, that's funny.
Wait.
I want people to understand. So in the movie, Richard Roundtree's on the rooftop, and it's a tense moment. We think Q the Winged Serpent might arrive, and instead a kite flies into his head. When the kite flew into his head, June hit the deck. As if the kite had hit her head.
It really was.
It was
I
a
wish we had
sympathetic
that.
reaction.
June,
you grabbed your
jumped
own
on
head.
your jump because
June
something is happening.
June grabbed her own head like, there must be more. There must be more kites coming.
There's like all of a sudden this show became a 3D show where like then the kites will hit you in the audience as well.
I'm so embarrassed. This is very vulnerable what just happened. I really just showed myself. I showed my whole ass.
That's how good this movie is.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
and that's
man.
why I can't stop scaring her. And in our wedding vows, I had to promise her I would never put her on scare tactics. All right, so.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. The mime sees the Winged Serpent and does not at first say anything like a mime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, his reactions are gigantic.
so
His facial
mime-like.
reactions are gigantic. And they're smiling, laughing. He's excited. But he does, I will say, what I thought was very smart was the only reason the Winged Serpent doesn't get him is because he is in a box.
Oh, that's smart.
He is
smart,
in
yeah.
a protective box. See ya.
Now, the Winged Serpent there seems to just
Drop him.
drop him.
There are a couple times in the movie. Like, yes, he
Look at that
does
Winged
pick
Serpent,
up.
by the way.
Oh, in all of its glory.
Ugh.
I really don't like seeing that big muscle over
It
there.
looks like, I'll be honest, a thin dick.
I was gonna say it looks like someone. The Winged Serpent looks like someone who ate a Tootsie Roll and then tried to make it like a dick. And it's like, but it's like, I wish you were a little bit more talented. You may have been able to do. Oh, it's so upsetting.
Its neck is way too long.
There's so much to get into here. I want to go to the crowd before it gets too late here.
Okay.
So if you have a question about this, if you know anything about history, if you know anything about working on top of tall buildings, do they give you any protection from Quetzalcoatl's? Let us know. All right, yes, okay. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Alex.
Alex, okay. Alex, what's your question?
So, first of all, I'd like to say that I was born 2 months before the first episode.
Wow.
Of this show?
Alex, have I ever talked to you before? No, okay.
What
First time.
the fuck?
14 years. 14 years.
14 years? Get fucked. Are you serious?
Unfortunately.
God damn it.
Amazing. Okay, you might be the youngest person we've ever had here. I mean, the youngest person, well, I don't know what it is. It's something. It's good, and I'm not going to take it away from you.
All right. So, in the first construction scene, the construction worker says to the other guys, I'm going to shove the thermos up your asses one at a time.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Does that mean he's going to shove the thermos up their ass,
Take it out.
shove it
Go
up
to the
their
next
ass?
guy in
Yeah,
line.
Exactly.
Get him
One
to
at a
bend over,
time.
shove it up his ass.
You guys
Alex,
don't-
I don't like
guys,
that we're having this
don't move.
conversation. I wish we weren't having this conversation, but we are.
And you know what?
And we're
Jason-
in agreement.
Jason and a 14-year-old are talking about how to shove thermoses up construction workers'
I'm so
asses.
sorry.
thing.
I'm
I'm
just
so
distracted.
sorry.
I'm just so sorry. The FBI is here. What's that?
Yes, okay, your name?
Tim.
Tim, hey, Art.
Hi,
How you
Tim.
doing, Tim? What's your question?
So a bunch of people in this movie have access to secret information until the end. David Carradine says, when those guys were trying to get to your apartment, you didn't even use your gun. And his girlfriend's saying, you killed those two guys. The cops are saying you killed those guys on purpose. And then the crooks say, the diamond company told the insurance company that a guy left with a bag and it was worth $77,000.
Right, and then also the
the
reason why they
crooks know
arrest
that?
Michael Moriarty is because those two gangsters went to the cops and said, "Hey, by the way, go to
They ratted him out. He got them killed by Q.
right." So before they went to go kill him, they're like a lot of maneuvering around.
So everyone knows everything until this scene. And David Carradine says, well, I mean, I just kind of figured that the Quetzalcoatl sacrificer would locate you and get you to confess all of your sins for forgiveness. So
And then he goes,
canvassed every Fleabag motel in the city for hours.
Which
that
is
was the thing.
which would
Every
take
Fleabag, every Fleabag motel, we've guys check every room of every hotel. Should take
But
you about
also-
35 minutes, and we'll figure it out.
By the way, I thought the whole thing with the sacrifice was that it had to be like you had to consent to it.
Well, that's what he won't say the prayer.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you're right.
But even if you force someone to say the prayer,
Carradine doesn't know that.
no, I know David Carradine doesn't know that. I'm just saying, in the world of the movie, would that even work for the winged creature?
Well, I mean, here's the other thing.
It's a serpent, not a
I'm so
creature,
sorry. But that's
June.
the other thing. But
But
here's my
respect
genuine.
you.
But here's my genuine question. They keep on saying that these sacrifices will bring Q, the winged serpent, to life. He's to life.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He's risen.
That's what I don't
but-
He is
but
risen.
here's my
He's
thought.
risen.
Here's my thought.
I'll leave close on Esty.
I think it makes eggs.
Hang on.
Wait.
Hear me out.
Oh, so you're saying the eggs haven't risen?
Every sacrifice creates an egg.
How do you know that?
Because there's
I love
multiple-
this.
right,
I
we
love
know-
this as an idea.
Right? So we know that there are at least 3 sacrifices, which would be 3. We have the dino and the 2 eggs.
I only saw one egg.
Well,
The end, the final.
Oh, that final egg.
Oh, by the way, great little fact about that. They couldn't put the egg in the Chrysler building because it was too narrow in the top. So they put it in a regular building. And then they forgot to take it away. And then all these scientists found this nest. And they're like,
What?
oh my God, we found this crazy nest.
Wait, is this real?
This
What-
is real.
what?
No. Paul.
That's how long after? Do you know?
Like years after the
That's
movie was
great.
made. because they did it in like an abandoned police precinct. And they're like, whoa, look at this nest. It's gigantic. What could it have possibly have been? And it was in the papers that all these like ornithologists and scientists were studying this nest. All right, yeah. What's your name? What's your question?
David. So the robbery takes place at Neil Diamond's, and it's a flying creature. Is this just a sequel to Jonathan Living Seagull? That
is it really called Neil Diamonds?
Yes, it is.
That's fucking great.
I love
hilarious.
it.
Incredible.
That's
I was going to say it's a
hilarious.
sequel to The Jazz Singer. All right, so because we got him playing jazz, we got Neil Diamonds.
Love
there
it.
it is.
I love
All right. Yes. Hi.
My name's Nikita. So I saw that one of the people that designed Q went on to design on Aliens. Okay. Do you think having this on his CV is like what got him that job? Like they were so impressed with his work.
They're like, wow, that does look otherworldly. No creature we've ever seen.
Yes, when I look at Q the Winged Serpent, I'm like, oh, that's a face hugger.
You know, this movie was actually kind of successful. As a matter of fact, the movie that this guy was fired off of, that then he decided to write this script in 6 days, it outgrossed that movie. So this movie was a hit. This movie was a hit, and it's a scary movie, and we learned a lot. I just want to just get a moment of Michael Moriarty's acting, just for the hell of it.
And if you want to take a moment, close your eyes, and think, is this Bill Burr?
Why do I stay with a dumb ex-junkie?
I don't know why.
I think there's a lot of good in you somewhere.
Yeah, where?
I'm looking.
I get all this evil dream, evil dream, go away. I walk upside up top of this building and I see dead things and a nest,
A rat's nest.
No, it couldn't have been a rat's nest. It was bigger than that. It was big, and there was something in it that looked like an egg, but it couldn't have been an egg. I mean, there aren't any eggs. There's no egg that big. Jesus. And then there's a hole in the roof so it can get in and get out.
So it could get in and out.
Yeah. I just want to sleep.
There you go.
I mean,
all right.
Are we
Obviously,
supposed to be rooting for them? That's
I don't
what I don't know.
I don't know.
Are we supposed to be like, I hope these kids work it out?
I couldn't believe she went back to him at the end. It was very distressing.
I would love to know who has those diamonds.
me.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it have been great if there was a post-credit scene where there was like a quick scene about who picked up those diamonds and what they did with $70,000.
Or if like in one shot the winged creature's just like wearing chains.
I love it.
And earrings.
I love it. Is that the Met Gala?
What are you wearing? Just something from Neil Diamond's.
What's the story of what you're wearing, Q, the Winged Serpent?
I found it under a truck. All right, so obviously we had opinions about this, but there are people out there with a different opinion. It is now time for second opinions.
Hi. My name's Daisy. I know Jimmy's just a driver, he won't carry a gun, and he sings random jazz songs. But I heard that there's an Aztec monster who's flying around the towers and chomping all the people. This film's a fever dream with David Carradine, and Shaft is also there, but he's killed pointlessly. Yes, there's an ancient beast that only gets 2 scenes. I want to love this film, but it just makes me scream, oh, what have you done? You're a winged serpent, killing all in random. Oh, Q, oh, you just having fun, and now so am I. So I'm giving it 5 stars. It's called Winged Serpent. Hard to follow story. It's a Winged Serpent. Getting kind of gory. It's a Winged Serpent. At least it had some boobies. It's a Winged Serpent.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yes!
Great job.
Yes!
Great job. 488 total reviews.
All of them 5 stars?
73%
That's
5
pretty good.
stars. I'm going to do one that's a little bit different than normal, but I'll read you this first one from Darcy Drink Wine. In 2013, Darcy Drink Wine writes, all in caps, by the way. I've always liked creature movies. Ever since I was little, they are my #1 favorite, right next to stalker movies and movies in the woods. Oh, P.S. I live in Johnstown, Vermont, 05656.
No, don't say this.
And I had cable in the USA Network, and that's where I saw this for the first time when I was only 11 years old, and I fell in love with the USA Saturday Night Nightmares every Saturday night at 8 p.m. 5 stars.
So, wow. So most of the review is in the PS.
Yeah, the fact that she...
The PS had most of it.
Belle, in 2021, titles her
Wait,
review.
the Disney princess?
I think so. Scary and Terrific Plot is her title. Also, all in caps. Main character is dishonest, but courageous. If you love creepy monsters, this movie's for you. 5 stars. Now,
Like, do you think they're saying that Michael Moriarty is courageous or Q the Winged Serpent? Who's the main character?
it's a hard one to say. I would say that I think that you don't leave thinking Michael Moriarty is courageous.
Well, I do think he's supposed to be the protagonist
hero?
of the movie, but he
That's
should have
crazy.
been killed.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
100%.
He should have met a grisly end.
I am going to read this review, which is a little longer than normal because I can't make heads or tails of it. All right?
Do you want to do it in a spotlight?
No, I don't think we have
Okay,
that.
then
Okay.
don't.
AG writes in 2015, the title of the review is The Most Life-Affirming Monster Movie Ever Made. The most life-affirming monster movie ever made. Cohen understands his characters as people, not cannon fodder. And so his focus is on their amusingly mundane foibles, which evoke a sense of actual life that renders irrelevant the B-movie special effects and implausibility of the premise. It's a wonderfully funny and deceptively complex analysis of crisis as the catalyst to a deeper engagement with community. The city pulses with selfishness, but Jimmy's eventual rebirth as a decent person is a representative.
Never happens.
His rebirth as a decent person is representative of our better instincts prevailing when matters of life and death jar us from abstraction. Cohen stuffs, the film full of unpretentious, tossed-off human details that read as both specifically New York and totally universal. The cop furtively sipping a Budweiser before resuming his crisis post. The amiable pervert cheering as the girl takes off her top. The waitress shifting from smile to irritation the second the customer isn't looking. It reminds us we're watching human beings. However stylized, and their story is of us all who toil anonymously until fate intervenes to test our mettle, showing us a 9/11 aftermath mentality a decade before 9/11. 2 decades, as a matter of fact. Cohen reminds us that even in our worst circumstances, yes, even in a movie, we can tap into our reservoir of goodwill without losing the idiosyncrasies that make us uniquely prickly humans. 5 stars.
Wow. That is a real, Mike, I read your honors thesis, and we're not going to pass you. I read your honors thesis about Q the Winged Serpent, and you're going to have to, we're going to fail you.
I'm going to do a rare third opinion because this is great. This is from Siskel and Ebert when they reviewed the film. And it's a worthy discussion.
Why am I laughing? Crunch. I didn't recommend this movie, but it's far from being the worst flying lizard movie I've ever seen. In fact, there are a lot of moments in Q that I kind of enjoyed, especially when the people are sunbathing on a rooftop and the lizard suddenly swoops down and grabs them. It serves you right for sunbathing in Manhattan. But you have to admit it's a rather elementary level of entertainment in a movie. Q is a goofy movie, maybe even makes a mistake by trying for good performances from Michael Moriarty and other good actors like David Carradine. So I voted thumbs down on Q because I thought the movie was too ambitious for its own good. If it's going to be trash, it has to be willing to be great trash instead of having pretensions.
Well, I don't think there was anything pretentious about Michael Moriarty. What is pretentious, if you will, about the dialogue? Eat 'em. I would have loved to have been on the
but
set.
you're not being fair because you're forgetting some of the other scenes where we get kind of the method acting introspection, and he's thinking about why he's a loser and so forth.
I thought there was a lot of fun and joy in his performance. I think it's one of the unexpected good performances. I think it makes this just from being trash to good trash. Really do.
Well, don't you think, though, that sometimes a movie like this actually needs to have scenes in it that we can laugh at in terms of its awkwardness? Because isn't there a strange juxtaposition between a good performance and really weird kind of special effects like that?
Then let's put it this way. You saw a performance that was surprising to you, and you thought it hurt the movie. I saw a movie that was surprisingly good, and I thought it elevated it and made it well. Okay. There's a surprise there, nonetheless.
Wow.
Is that us? Is that what we're doing, like, currently?
I just love that they were able to get into Michael. He's like, yeah, Michael Moriarty sucks. Like, I think Michael Moriarty is a met. Like, it's like, agree to disagree.
I don't remember them. Why are they sitting so close to each other like that?
Oh, and they appear to be getting closer and closer as it goes. The next cut, Siskel is on Ebert's lap.
Ebert, a little pervy, like, I like the topless lady in the movie.
Oh, my God. Serves you right for sunbathing in Manhattan. Titties.
This came out the same year as E.T., as I mentioned, Razor to the Lost Ark, and Rocky 3. It also came out the same year as Megaforce, Halloween 3, Grease 2, and Yes, Giorgio. When first announced, they said Q would star James Coburn and Yaphet Kotto. Then they fell out. Then, for the part of Michael Moriarty, Eddie Murphy was the director's choice. But the investors didn't think an unknown would do well overseas. So not Eddie Murphy. Then it went to a young actor named Bruce Willis to play the David Carradine part. So this could have been this could have been Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy in Q the Winged Serpent.
And we would still be covering it on this show.
But yeah, but basically Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy were not well known overseas, so they cut them out, and that's how it became David Carradine and Richard Roundtree, which are people that he worked with in the past. As a matter of fact, Larry Cohen and David Carradine served in the army together.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's they were old friends. They were part of the Army transportation.
Eddie Murphy was supposed to play the Richard Roundtree part.
No, Eddie Murphy was supposed to play the Michael Moriarty part.
Okay.
So Richard Roundtree, unknown. I guess it was originally James Coburn and Yaphet Kotto. They dropped out. Then it went to Bruce Willis, and then it went to David Carradine. Michael Moriarty, it was originally just supposed to be Eddie Murphy.
I believe wholeheartedly that anybody else could have landed, I'm going to go take my birth control pill. I think anybody could have landed that plane successfully. Carradine struggled.
Would you recommend this film?
Fuck yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those rare, great...
This was fine.
I wish they could all, like I said at the beginning, I wish they could all be this good. This was a delight.
True delight. Really,
Never
really fun.
once did I press the button to pause to look at how much longer is left.
No.
I was soaking it in.
It really just gets you and keeps on going. I highly recommend everybody watch Q the Winged. Do you all agree? Okay, great. There it is. Any final thoughts?
I guess my only thought to close with is like there are roughly 15 other movies within this movie that I'd also like to see.
Yes. I would love to see the Q the Winged Serpent universe.
Yes.
All I want to see is this scene, which is the maid showing up at the Fleabag Motel to find a man shot so many times.
Well, I did feel like that was another improvised line that we saw when he said, like, oh, this guy just won't die or whatever. Like, it feels like all of this guy does not die easily is what it is.
Yeah, but like NYPD, you don't want to collect any evidence. You don't want to take that guy's wallet. See who he is.
You don't call it in and be like, great, get crime scene investigations over here.
That's why when the movie ends with one of the eggs cracking and another winged serpent arriving, I'm like, well, yeah, they didn't do any follow-up.
Do you think that baby is the winged serpent?
Oh.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
I could have talked about Winged Serpent all night long. What a great show. Great to be back at Largo. What a crowd. Thank you to everybody who showed up to our live shows. We got more live shows coming. That's right. We're going to go on a big spring tour. But if you're listening right now, November 15th, tomorrow, November 16th, we will be in Philadelphia, so get your tickets for that. We also have a virtual live show that anyone can watch anywhere in the world. That's right, anywhere in the world. Get your tickets now before the price goes up, because it goes up a little bit on the day of the show, which is 12/12. And you can watch this show for 7 days after we do it live. It's great. You can get all this and more and information about all the shows that we have coming up, including Jason and I traveling all around the country doing our dinosaur improv with great guests like Edie Patterson from the Righteous Gemstones and, of course, Lisa Gilroy from Interior Chinatown and Jury Duty and Rob Hubel from Human Giant and a How Did This Get Made All-Star. So get tickets at hdtgm.com. But if you're still stuck with the Winged Serpent, so are we. We got a great shirt coming out of this one. That's right. We have a Winged Serpent with the title, The Winged Serpent, underneath it, because we need to get the word out. People didn't see this Winged Serpent in the actual film. We need to have people out there spotting this creature. So what a great stocking stuffer for the Q-worshipping fan in your life. We also have great new coffee mugs in the store called How Did This Coffee Get Made? But definitely check out Podswag, where we have all new Christmas merch. I'm talking about Team Sanity tumblers that are great. We've been using them here in our house. Plus, I have hand-signed a bunch of books. You'll get random How Did This Get Made messages in my book. But if you want something a little bit more personal, go to my website and I'll be signing and personalizing books for you through Chevaliers. Just click on a link, paulscheer.com. We got so much stuff coming. But I know that you probably want to say, Paul, what about my opinions on Q the Winged Serpent? Well, don't worry, you'll get plenty of time to voice those if you log on to our Discord at discord.gg/hdtgm. You write it up. We read the best ones on Last Looks. But if you're like, Paul, I don't want to do that, then give us a call at 619-PAUL-ASK. Plus, Jason and I are going to talk about music, especially Star Wars jizz music. Yes, that's what they call music in the Star Wars world, or I guess jazz music, jizz, and it's canonical, so don't question me on this. Jason and I will break it all down next week on Last Looks. A big Last Looks coming up for you. So, people, we got Christmas gifts, we got shows, and we got you. That's right. We have so many fun shows coming up. I can't wait for this next month or so. Until then, bye for now.